A good Voch. Leah nishmat Imi Merosi was Mordechai. Today's shir is sponsored by Fishel Gross from Official Catering. Refuah Shlayma for Bryna Yenta, Devora, and Avraham Yosef ben Chana, and the Cholei Meron, and for the safety of all of our chayalim guarding us. They're still guarding? They're always guarding. Huh? Yosef, Azriel, Ben, Chaim Michal. Mize? All right, yes, you're right. All right. Anytime, there's a big tefillah tonight for him. Okay. Refuah Shlayma. Anytime a random girl knocks on my door and says she wants to see her father's Magid Shir, so I have to give a shout out to her father. Mivaish him a little bit. Eliezer Al-Bag, your daughter has guts. She came with the Stefansky, and I explained to them that the reason why I do the whole daf, it's only because when I grew up, everybody asked me, "Are you related to the Dagim Tuna?" And she goes, she's a Dagim Tuna. She says, wherever I go, they ask. So I said, "Okay, that's it. I'm going to quit." That was mission achieved. All right, we have a couple of emails here. We have a very nice surprise today. Let's see. Here we go. Morty Ness, dear Belly, over Shavuos I somehow managed to get a daf ahead of the cycle. As a result, I skipped a few of the shiurim since I was one daf ahead. That was until daf mem, which you wisely called the easy Gemara. Since I was a day ahead, I realized that was code for a challenging sugya. So now I'm changing the code B'li Neder. I'm no longer going to say easy Gemara, because actually somebody in the shir said, as soon as he said easy Gemara, I started tuning out. Since I was a day ahead, I realized the code. Okay, Yeshikoyach for the charts. They clearly took a lot of time and effort and helped illustrate a difficult sugya, particularly with the details of the Seder of the Avodah. All the best, Mordechai Ness. My boy says it's Motzei Shabbos, and I think we should sing a niggin. The words, everybody knows the words, but the oil has to sing together. Mendy, sit down, we got to sing this, but you have to knock it out of the park. Hold on. I see people don't know the words. Let's geschmack to do that thing. It's geschmack to learn the daf. This is by Tzvi Young. Dear Rebelli, I'm continuing to immensely enjoy your shir. By the way, the story about the chassan dropping the ring was definitely the Brisker Rav. I got a few emails about that. It's not Rav Moshe Feinstein, it's the Brisker Rav. I even said it might be the Brisker Rav. I heard it from a Talmud of his. All right, should we do another one? Or no, let's go. It's kind of late. Today is Daf Mem Aleph. 40 Daf into Masechtas Yoma, tremendous achievement. And we are holding the bottom of Daf Mem Amud Beis. We have a tremendous guest here, Menachem Matez's father. When you see him, he's sitting right over here, you see him, you understand where Menachem came from. Choshev Yid. All right, so we were discussing the other day about the girl of the goats. Is it a ma'akiv? Is it not a ma'akiv? Do you have to do the girl? You don't have to do the girl. So we had this chart, if you remember. First, Lashon the Gemara is according to Rabbi Yehuda, Seder is not ma'akiv. So I could skip around in the order of different things. Memela, the Gemara wanted to say that according to everybody, there's no machloikis, girl is not ma'akiv. And according to Rabbi Nechemia, that Seder is ma'akiv, one Rabbi Yochanan holds that Seder is not ma'akiv, and Rabbi Yani holds Seder the girl is ma'akiv. And then we had another Lashon that says a little bit different. That if you say Seder is ma'akiv, the order of Abayav, Masada, Seder, Meracha, Mishmali, there's a certain order, the way the Abayda Beis HaMikdash goes, and if you mess it up, so you have to redo everything, you have to redo at least what you did wrong. So according to everybody, the Goyrel is ma'akiv. And if you say Rabbi Yehuda holds, according to Rabbi Yehuda, I mean, that doesn't change. Rabbi Yehuda says it's not ma'akiv. There's only one cheetah. According to Rabbi Yochanan, Goyrel is not ma'akiv. Okay. Says the Gemara Tashma. And this is basically the final raya, and that's it for that sugi of Goyrel for a second. V'asau chatos. Says in the pasuk. I guess I didn't press print. Okay. The reason why I printed this pasuk is because you have to see the beginning of the pasuk, but I'll say it balpeh. The pasuk says there's a goyrel, and the end of the pasuk says vaso chatos. Hagoyrel oiseu chatos ve'ein Hashem oiseu chatos. So the pasuk tells us that the goyrel vaso chatos, that you need to draw the lottery in order to create a chatos. That's what creates the chatos, and not just by calling it the name chatos. Calling it a name doesn't do anything. The Gemara goes into Kal V'chomer. Sheyachal. I could have thought this Kal V'chomer. So we need to remember this Kal V'chomer because the Gemara is going to bring it on Mem Aleph again, the beginning of Mem Aleph. Very simple Kal V'chomer. Sheyachal v'al yidinu. Uma b'makom shloi kiddush hagoyrel kiddush Hashem, where the goyrel doesn't work. Like if a person brings birds as a carbon, and he decides he's going to call it. He's going to do a lottery. Let's say he decides he has two birds in front of him. He's a zav, he has to bring birds. So he makes a lottery, and he writes on one of them chatos, one of them oila. And he takes the piece of paper, puts it, he draws, okay, and he puts it on it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Goyrel doesn't work. What does he have to do? He has to scream out. He has to say chatos, oila. If he doesn't, not. And so girl doesn't work, but the shame does work. Makom shekiddush hagoyrel. 1 minute. Makom shekiddush hagoyrel. Einidin shekiddush Hashem. So in a place where the goyrel does work, by the seirim, the goyrel works. So certainly you should be able to name it. You should be able to say chatos, lashem, lazazel. Yeah. In a place that a goyrel doesn't work, calling it out works. So in a place that the goyrel does work, calling it out should work. Gary, you need to get back there for a second. I need you over there. You're going to try from over here? Okay. Okay, Magam Shkidish HaGoyrel and Din Shikash Hashem, Tamaloim Vaso Chatos, HaGoyrel Oisa Chatos. It's a special halach by Sirim. Woo! What's going on here? It's mamish. Is there a surprise going on here? The two of you from both sides, you're making me nervous. I see something. He's wearing gloves. Oy vavoy. HaGoyrel Oisa Chatos V'en Hashem Oisa Chatos. Okay, so Goyrel is the thing. So what's the raya? The only way to do it is Goyrel. The only way to do it is Goyrel and not naming it. And the Gemara continues, Daf Mem Aleph Amud Aleph on top. Stam Sifro Mani Rabbi Yehuda. And there's a famous Gemara in Sanhedrin that tells you who says what, and when it says this, it means this person. Over there it says Sifra, Teres Kehanim, is Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. So in Rabbi Yehuda we have a major problem. Because you just told me, according to this chart, in Rabbi Yehuda, who wrote the Sifra, Goyrel loy ma'akiv. It says before in the pasuk, Vaso chatas a goyrel's ma'akiv. The only way to do it is through a goyrel. This is very bad. This one is not so good according to Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's okay. So, anyway, you look at it, we have major issues in Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yochanan is going in Rabbi Yehuda. In Rabbi Yehuda, he learns in Rabbi Yehuda, goyrel doesn't make a difference. I could say with my mouth. Over here is Mefurasha, Teres Kehanim, that says you cannot say it with your mouth. And who wrote the Teres Kehanim? Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yochanan, who's learning that pshat in Rabbi Yehuda, is off. And the Gemara says, Tiyufta is very strong. Not like we said from a kasha startinish when the Gemara says kasha. Tiyufta is a bomb. Okay. Zok the Gemara, Omer Rav Chisda. Ein hakinin misparshois elo. New sugya. Wake up, new sugya. What's a kinim? Kinim is a pair of birds. Kan. Not kinim like lice. Although I was told that pigeons in this neighborhood have a lot of lice, pigeon lice, and that's why I was thinking maybe I shouldn't bring pigeons to share, but I couldn't control myself. Here we go. He's already backing up. Ooh, they need a little ear. Yeah, these are real. These are the real deal. These are what the Torah calls, this is a cane, and this is what the Torah calls B'nei Yoina. These are babies. I killed tonight 3 birds with 1 stone. I cleaned up my porch. I have a prop for the shear, and I was Mekayim mitzvah shiluach hakan. Open it. They have lice, for goodness sakes. You want to take it out? Rabbi Yeshua Aaron Price helped me out big time. Okay, take one out. Show what it's like. Okay. You want to show what Malika looks like? Throw it in and take it out. Let them go. Out. Arois. No, you know what? Leave it here for a second. We need it, maybe. This, yeah, give it a little ear. What? Oh, he gave them food. He was such a nice guy. He gave them garinim. No, not like that. They'll pop out on me. They don't need a home. Okay. I got to tell you what happened. He grabs one, puts it in the box, grabs the second one, and it starts going like this and flies off into the night. It's like, Rabbi say, that's not even Mrs. Shiloh HaKen, if they can fly. Turns out he grabbed the mother by mistake. So there was 3 of them in there, and okay, fine. You're part of a shir. Rabbi said, what are you so nervous? You're all part of it. Okay.
What did your wife use that box for?
I bought a brand new, I bought this box, Erev Shabbos, 23 shek. It's going in the garbage. All right. Says the Gemara. No, we're just getting started here. One of these birds is a chatos. One of them is a oila. We're talking about somebody that's Tomei Tumas Mikdash V'Kedosh. Shah. Making a ruckus here. Chutzpah. Oibesias worse than you, Gary. He didn't like that. Look at him. He didn't give me a look. There's only 2 times where you could designate a bird and say that this bird is a chatos, this bird is an oila. And that is when you purchase the bird or when the kohen does the avodah with the bird. In between the purchase and the kohen, the owner has 0 opportunity to make the bird a chazer and oila. Okay. Omer Rav Shimi Barashi, my time to Rav Chisda, the chsiv, v'lokcha, va'asa. Interesting. There's two psukim here. One is by Yoledes. Now, before I go there, let me just explain to you. We're talking about, let's say, a guy goes into the Beis Hamikdash. He's metamet tumas v'kedusha. He walks into the Beis Hamikdash betuma. He's tameh. He walks in the Beis Hamikdash. He has to bring a carbon. Good. B'shoigi, yeah, of course. All karbanas b'shoigi. Or he eats kachim betuma. So he brings a carbon oila v'yored. It's a sliding carbon depending on how wealthy he is. If he's wealthy, he brings one sheep, one, as a chatos. But if he's not wealthy, he's poor, he brings a chatos and a oila, bird. And I heard a pshat once that why is he bringing a chatos and an oila and he's only bringing a chatos? The answer is because that chatos, part of it goes on the mizbeach and part of it the kohen eats. Whereas a bird, the chatos, the kohen eats completely, none of it goes on the mizbeach, and the oil goes completely on the mizbeach, and the kohen doesn't get to eat. So with one animal, you could accomplish both. And then if he's really, really super poor and he can't even afford a bird, then he could bring a soilas, some flour. Oh. So we're talking about tumas mikdash v'kedusha, but it could also be Yoledes, azav. These are people that bring this carbon oil v'yored. So a woman who doesn't have money, she brings v'lei simsa yada they say v'lakcha shtei seirim. V'imlei simsa yada, she can't afford it. V'lakcha, she takes. So that's the word we're looking for. Lakcha. By the purchase of the bird, then she could designate this one is a chatas, this one is a oila. Once she's done with the purchase, next day she cannot decide any longer. And then by zav it says completely different parasha. The kohen decides at the time of the avodah which one is going to be a chatas, which is going to be an oila. Those are the two opportunities according to Rav Chisda. And the Gemara doesn't like it. The Gemara is going to ask questions from different angles. Again, so Rav Chisda says there's only two opportunities when you purchase it and when the kohen does the avodah. V'aso chatos by us, by the sire of Yom Kippurim, it also says the word vaso. Hagorel oisa chatos, ve'ein Hashem oisa chatos. Think about it. The only thing that works by a sire is a goyrel. When does the goyrel take place? At the purchase? No. It could be many days later. At the shchita? No. So it's nicht dahin, nicht there. So it's a kasha of Rav Chisda. Rav Chisda says there's only two opportunities at the purchase. Or at the shchita, at the over it's goyrel, it's in the middle of nowhere. And this is the Cholei Meron we just mentioned before. Where a girl does not work. Saying it with your mouth works. Okay. He asked the Gemara. By the Seirim, by the Goyrel. It's not by the purchase and it's not by the Avodah, the Katani, the Kava. It's a kasha of Chisda. Rav Chisda says nothing's kaveh. You can't decide, you can't designate a carbon. I think Gemara understood that. I'm talking about it. Maybe if we have this idea by birds, it should also apply itself to animals. You're right. That's not what we meant to say. Because in the Cholei Meron, it seems like, so let's go back 2 steps. I said it too fast. In the Cholei Meron, we say that without the pasuk vaso chatos, I would have a Cholei Meron and say what? That I could be mekadosh. I could designate it as is. But how? It's the middle of nowhere. It's the middle of not a hafrasha. It's not the lakicha, and it's not the asiyah. Says Gemara, I never meant to say that. Where I cannot just make a goyrel, right? By birds. I can't make a goyrel. Even when I purchase it, as I'm buying it in the store, I can't open up a lottery box and pull that one out and say, chatos. No, I have to say the word chatos. Just because it came out in a goyrel doesn't do anything. Kiddush Hashem b'shas l'kiruv b'shas asiyo. I'm sorry. V'afilu b'shas asiyo. Kiddush Hashem b'shas l'kiruv b'shas asiyo. Yet when I say chatos, it works when I purchase it, and it works when the kohen does the avodah. Malkum shekiddush hagoyrel. In a place where the goyrel works, shaloi b'shas l'kicha v'shaloi b'shas asiyo. Here's the difference in the Cholei Meron. In a place where the goyrel works, in other words, by the goats, and it didn't Kaddish Hashem b'shas l'kicha b'shas asiya. The Gemara is saying no. The Cholei Meron is when I purchase it, talking should work. Not stam azoi talking should work in the middle of nowhere. And you're asking me, well, it's not by the buying and it's not by the asiya. It's on a Tuesday afternoon. No, I'm saying that when I buy it, talking should work. That's the Gemara's kasha. When I buy the goat, as I purchase the goat, I should be able to say, Azazel and Lashem. Why? Because of a Cholei Meron from the birds. If by birds a goyrel doesn't work, but talking works, so by a goat that the goyrel works, so certainly talking should work. When? At the special time called Likicha and Asiya. That's the kasha. If it's confusing, we're going to be in a new sugi in 10 seconds. Fine. Oh, mamish, 5 seconds. We're in a new sugi. Toshma. Again, a guy is poor and he walks into the Beis Hamikdash b'tumah b'shoigig. And he has to bring a carbon oil of yored. So if he's poor, what does he bring? Well, he's going to bring the 2 birds. He's in between poor. He's not so destitute he can't even afford a bird. He's going to bring a bird. Oh, I have. Watch this. It went like this. 25 shekel in each bag. He says, this is a chatos, this is the oil money. He was mafresh. He put it to the side. Now, you should be able to, at that point, designate and say, okay, so designation is almost like purchasing, fine. And suddenly he wins the lottery. He had Reb Chaim Sonnenfeld's dream. He hit the numbers, v'hesher, he became wealthy. But he already designated the money on the side. He put it on the side. So what should you do with the money? He says he's wealthy. Now, think about it. What does a wealthy person have to bring as a carbon? 1 carbon called the chatas. So he says, so what does he do? So look at this. He has 25 shekel in a bag. He finds out that his sheep costs, how much does the sheep cost? 1,000 shekel? I think it was 1,000 shekel we paid for the sheep when we did twice we bought a sheep. He bought me a sheep. It was beautiful, beautiful matana. Bought me a sheep, shechted it. He put all the meat in the freezer and he was going to give it to me, but he had a big taiva and he ate it all up. Ma'aseh Shaya, true? Avi, get over here! Get over here, Avi! Tell him the story. Is it a true story? True story. It was already getting freezer burnt, and that was Michael. He's going to give me another one. Yeah, another thing. So he has 25 shekel, but now he has to add 975 shekel to the bag. Great. So he takes the money, uses it for a chatas. He cannot use this oil money towards his carbon. This is oil money. You can't use it for a chatas. Voch, ask the Gemara. The lav shas lekicha, the lav shas asiyahi, v'katari dekava. What happened? So look at this. 4 stages here. He's ani. He went into the Beis Hamikdash. He did a boo-boo. He was tamei. He shouldn't have gone in. So step number 2, he takes a bunch of money. He puts it aside. He says, when I have the chance, I'm going to buy a oil and a chatas. Step number 3 is he won the lottery. He became wealthy. Step number 4 is he designated a chatas and an oila. How could he? Who is he to designate a chatas and oila? The money was already separated over here. Hifrish mais. That's like the purchase. It was before he became wealthy. It was 5 days ago. You can't say that it's a chatas and a oila in the middle of nowhere. According to Rav Chisda, that has to either be by the purchase or by the asiyah. Says the Gemara, Omer Rav Sheshes, the Tizbra, you think that Brysa makes sense as is? There's a problem with the Brysa, we have to fix it. Once we fix the Brysa, then your whole question is going to go off. Omer Rabbi Lazar, Omer Rabbi Shaya, Metam Migdosh Asher. A wealthy guy goes into the Beis Hamikdash Betuma. He's wealthy when he went in. Ve'evi Karben Ani, and he brings a bird. The guy that didn't go to Daf Yomi, he doesn't know that if you're wealthy, you have to bring a sheep. He thought he could get away with a bird. Yoitza or not yoitza? Anybody? Says the Gemara, lo yotza. No, nothing. Lo yotza, nothing. So, in other words, the carbon it wasn't chal. The key. Okay, whatever. If you can afford $1,000 carbon. Vehevi carbonani lo yotza. V'kivin the lo yotza hechi kava. So, if it's nothing happened, so how can you say this is a chatas, this is oil? Nothing happened. He's wealthy. He has to forget about. If a guy is in the middle of the day, right now, today, I say, I'm buying a chatas. Can't do it. I have to be over averim. You can't just do carbon. So if it didn't work, if he's just throwing out a thing there, he bought a bird carbon when it doesn't apply to him, nothing happened, zero happened. So where did he designate it? So you have to flip it around a little bit. So the Gemara says this is what happened. You have to flip the purple and the green. So step number one is we have to flip, in this case, this rich guy. First, he made it a chatas oila, and then he became wealthy. First he was poor, then he made a chatas oila, and then became wealthy. So what happened is, the Gemara is basically saying, if you look over here, I didn't have time on the Shabbos to fix it that much, but if you look over here, the blue and the green there's a white line in between, separate. Over here, I put them together because what happened was, it's an Israeli fly here. I'm not on that madriga that the flies don't. Nachnish. So when he was mafresh, the blue, when he set aside, he designated his money, he said right then and there, this one is a chatas, this one is a oila. In other words, we have to fix the Brysa. It doesn't work well, the Brysa, because how can you designate something that doesn't apply to you because you're wealthy? So once we're going to flip around the Brysa, let's already flip it around that it works completely and say that what happened was he was a poor person. And he said, designated money on the side for his carbon. And then when he designated the money aside, he said, this bag is for the oila, and this is for the he designated. He said already what it is. And Memela, then he became wealthy. Then everything makes sense. That's why it's chal. And that's why you're able to, it's not a kasha on Rav Chisda. Again, what's the kasha on Rav Chisda? Rav Chisda says you could only designate money. You could only designate carbon or money, be mafresh money. B'shas alakicha, or b'shas hafrashas of the money, he did. That's exactly what happened. We're saying that it's not a kasha according to Rav Chisda. That's exactly what he did. Because the whole Bryce is meshubash. I proved to you that the Bryce doesn't work well, and I have to fix it around. So once I'm fixing it around, I can answer Rav Chisda, yes, he designated chatas oila when he was mafresh the money. Says the Gemara, why did I say the Bryce is messed up? Because we hold that a rich person who brings a poor man's carbon, and nothing happened. And if nothing happened, so what did he do exactly? But that if a wealthy person brings a poor man's bird, he is yaitza. So the Brysa is not mishubash. So now I'm not going to be able to fix Rav Chisda. I'm not fixing the Brysa up. There's no reason to fix it up. If there's no reason to fix it up, I can prove from here that Rav Chisda is wrong because I'm setting aside money, designating money in the middle of nowhere. It's not by that frush, it's not by that sea, it's in the middle of nowhere. Look when he was mafresh it. This remains according to Rav Chaga. He was a poor person, he was mafresh moist. This is where he should have said chatas and he didn't. He became wealthy. and Shalom Aleichem. Oh, I want to decide today, this is a Chad, this is a Oila. Doesn't work according to Rav Chisda. So what are we going to do according to Rav Chag? Now we turn to Daf Aleph, Amud Beis. Schutz for Shidduch, for Esther, Devora bas Leah Gittel, and Devora bas Suri, the nishmat, the Meron victims, for Shlayma, for all those. By the way, there's a Meron victim in the neighborhood that they're not doing well at all. There's, if anybody knows, I didn't think about saying it, but you know what? It's just between us. Nobody's listening. If anybody knows of cleaning help, they really could use cleaning help. And I had guests for Shabbos, and I tried to make them laugh. Nothing had worked. And my wife looked at me. She goes, "I'll go. I'm going to go clean." And my niece, she started laughing like she never laughed before for 2 minutes straight. I mean, if you know my wife, it's pretty funny. I mean, she was serious. She wanted to, but okay. No, I'm not kidding. Okay, Zokti Gemara, according to Rav Chaga, that we don't change this whole Brysa. It's a raya against Rav Chisda that you could just designate whenever you want. Huh? Baruch Hashem, she doesn't watch the shir. Don't tell her. Listen to this. This is amazing. Don't say that he immediately said. You have to stick in a word. Does it ever bother you when the Gemara says you have to stick in a word? Stick in a word. We'll make it work now. All you need to do is stick in one word. He purchased it, and then he designated it. It doesn't. Sometimes it bothers you. Yeah. So look at Rashi here, 3 lines down, or we'll start from the beginning of Rashi. First, he purchased it, and that's beautiful. According to Rav Chisda, as he purchases it, he could designate it. Listen to this. Write down this Rashi. Leave it for the rest of your life. It's possible that Tanoim, the mechasri teva achas, sometimes they miss one letter, one word. Ayidei shikcha, they simply forget. Umechlaf lehu bein va'achar kach lokach v'achar kach omar. Unbelievable Rashi. Rashi is saying that in those days everything's balpeh, and humans are humans, and sometimes they pashut forgot a word, they mixed up a word. Instead of saying lokach, they said achar kach. Because achakach and lokach, that's what happens. We're big knockers. We have a Gemara. Oh, you missed a word. When I'm reading the whole Nachman says, "Oh, you missed a word." Okay, but in those days everything's about peh. So you missed one. Instead of lokach, in his mind, va'achakach and lokach is the same thing, and he boo boo. Azay Dr. Rashi, write it down, mark it up. Mem Aleph Amud Beis. I'm not saying it. It's Rashi HaKadosh. Okay, ask the Gemara, what are you talking about? He purchased and then he designated? Look, it says he has all these bags of money, and he should take this bag of the Chattas money and add it to his $9.75, and then he should buy a sheep with it. You just told me he bought a bird. This is not a bird. I don't see a bird here. I see cash. You're talking about cash. You're not talking about a bird. Says the Gemara, the Parikle. He had a bird. He did have a bird. He bought a bird. And then he redeemed it. And from the redemption, this is what he got. He got 25 shek. He sold it. As the Gemara, you can't redeem a bird. There's no such thing as redeeming a bird. Rashi brings, there's certain things you can't redeem. You can't redeem Levina. You can't redeem the Cholei Meron Hamikdash. There's certain things you can't redeem. You can't redeem wood. Interesting case. He bought one bird. He was only able to get his hands on one. Now, what did he purchase? Very gishmak. Listen to this. It's gewaldig. If he bought a oila, so what is he left with? This, he bought a oila bird. Okay, done. So now he has a bag of chattas money. And he has to buy a chatta sheep. So great, so he can use this for the chatta sheep. It works. If he bought oila, and the bird oila that he purchased with this money, you give it to the Beis Hamikdash as a gift. But this is not so good. If he went and purchased a chattas bird with the money, so now there's a chattas bird in his hand. And by the way, when you use half your money for one bird, the other money automatically becomes what the other bird is supposed to be. So if I buy a chattas with this money, without me saying a word, this becomes oila money. Okay? So then the oil money, because all I said is this is for my birds. I didn't say which one is what. This is for birds. So until I buy the chatos, this is stam money. It's designated money, but stam money. It has no name to it. This forces this bag to become oil money. But if he bought a chatos, he can't use the oil money that he has left in his pocket to buy a chatos. Can't buy a chatos with oil. By chatos, azlan misa. The bird he bought with this money, which he can't bring as a carbon because he's bringing a sheep as a carbon. So what is he doing with the bird? You can't give it as an adava. There's no such thing as an adava, nidvas chatos. It stays in this box right over here. All right, get rid of this. Do me a favor. The guys are singing already. No, I'm just kidding. Chas v'shalom. They're having a great time. They've never been in a base measures before. The first MDY. No. They were born on my porch. Here, take. No, Aros. Put them back in the nest. Okay. Gufa. I don't think we're going to do this again. So we need a picture, Yosef, a picture taking a screenshot. Next time we have birds, just show the picture and finished. Can't check an animal every time we talk about shchita, right? It's a one-time thing, then we have pictures. Huh? The real bird? Not going to happen. Nah, I don't need those. I would, but they have lice. Seriously. I would have. All right. Let's do it. It's going to fall on you. You know it's going to jump right out of your thing. I need fresh gloves. Let me see if there's any lice on this thing. Where are my gloves? Ugh. Two gloves. Yeah, Avi, you should run. No. First close it. Do me a favor. Close it. I don't need them flying everywhere. Okay, here we go. Here, Malika. Shkoyach. What? Listen, until he comes, he'll forget. Are you coming to share again, Rabbi? Oh. Next time he comes, he's coming, bli neder. You fit right in. I'm also not a rabbi. We're all not rabbis. Very good. Gufo, Omer Elazar Mishaya. Mitame Migdash Osher Vehevi Korbanoni. We just learned the guy was wealthy when he walked into the Beis Hamikdash. I guess it wasn't a good idea to walk in when he was tamei because what happened was, he was an Osher. He decided to bring an ani carbon. He decided to bring a bird. It wasn't the carbon he should have brought. He's Amaretz. He brought an ani bird. Loi Yotza. Reb Chago, Reb Shaya, Yotza. So that's what we just learned. We had the Machlokes according to Shaya, Chago, or Shaya is Yotza. Meisvei. Mitzaira ani shehevi carbon asher Yotza. On Mitzaira, he has to bring a whole bunch of karbanos, right? The guy has tsaras. He's supposed to bring 3 karbanos basically. And if he's an ani, he brings, you can't get away with the sheep. He has to bring 1 sheep. Instead of bringing 3 sheep, he brings 1 sheep and 2 birds. Okay? So the 2 birds, obviously, chatas and oila. But if he's an ani, listen to this. What would you say? I'm serious. Like I was learning this Gemara. It bothers me a little bit. If you are poor and you scrape together as much money as you can, and you buy a wealthy carbon, you buy 3 sheep instead of 1 sheep and 2 birds. Isn't that a beautiful thing? I would have a havamina that he's not yoitza?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because if that's what the Torah wants me to do, I'm not allowed to do so.
The Torah doesn't want you to do it. The Torah gives you a little kula. He says, listen, you're not that wealthy. I'll let it slide today. You don't have to force yourself.
Bring the sheep and then if you don't have money, bring the other. He didn't say bring a sheep and if you don't have money, 3 sheep. He said bring 3 sheep and if you don't have money, then bring a sheep and 2.
He did. Yeah, that's what Torah says. Torah says oil v'yared. Here, look. If you can't afford a sheep, then you bring shtei yodim. You can't afford it, you bring 2 yodim. But I went to the gemach and I did everything I can. I want to bring. Why not? I can't buy a nice esrog. Huh? So you say, okay, listen, that's basically what the Gemara is saying. In fact, it's hard to understand. The chinuch says that if an ani does it, at the end of the day, he's not yaitza. Even though the Gemara says over here, we'll see, says the Gemara, and he says something like that. He says the Torah, Hashem didn't want you to bring it. Hashem said, do not bring it. You know what? You bring 2 birds. You have no right to bring an expensive carbon. Don't be a tzaddik over here. Says the Gemara, he decided to go all out and spend money on animals instead of birds. Yotza, he's yaitza. But the opposite, Asher, Shevi Karbanani, if he's wealthy and he decided to act like a poor person, bring birds, la yotza. So what do you see? Reb Chaga says, you're yaitza. Reb Chaga says, you're yaitza, how come by Mitzayra, you're not yaitza? Shani Asam, it's different. It's different than the regular carbon oil by Metame Tumas Mikdash V'Kedashav and other ones. Mitzayra is special. That even Reb Chaga would agree that a wealthy person who brings birds is not yaitza, but the other ones, he is yaitza. Why? Shani Asam Nechsiv Zois. It's exactly like this. Do it this way, no other way. If you have the word Zois, Reishanami, what about the first case, the Mitzayra who is poor and buys a sheep? He is yaitza. Why is he yaitza? Torah says Zois. You have to be exact. Harabi Rachmana Tairas. This is a word Tairas. What does Tairas mean? That there's one carbon for everybody in a certain case. There's one carbon sheep that even a poor person could use and a wealthy person could use. Not the bird a wealthy person cannot use. There is one. Tairas, the sheep is good for everybody. One size fits all. Sheep is one size fits all. Bird is not one size fits all. A bird is only for poor people. Vatanya, you have to read it. It's not a kasha, it's a raya. Vatanya, b'nichusa. Tairas, the rabbis mitzayra oni shevi. This is mamish what we just said. Tairas. The word Tairas comes to say the rabbis mitzayra oni shevi carbon asher that a poor person can bring a wealthy person's carbon. That's okay. Misvara and mamish makes sense. Just if you have a what about a wealthy person who brings a bird? Maybe b'diyevet should be yaitza. We have the words that teach us you can't play around. Ask the Gemara of V'neilef Mina. So learn mitama mikdash v'kadashav. We just went through a whole. Mitzayra is very different. Mitzayra is a carbon oil of yared that's different than all the other carbon oil of yareds. How many others? There's like another 4 or so, 5. No, you have zav, yeledes, you have the bitui, another shvuah, and tumas mikdash v'kadashav. We talk about tumas mikdash v'kadashav. Rashi explains because that's the most common one. People are not swearing falsely and that sort of thing, but women bring oil of yared. Okay, says the Gemara. So learn metam mikdash v'kadashav from a mitzayra. According to Reb Chaga, should learn that what? That if a poor person brings, a wealthy person brings a poor man's carbon, a bird, shouldn't be yaitza. Says the Gemara, mid rachmana vimdalu. It's a special. We have a special lima. Just mitzayra is different. Okay, by mitzayra it says imdalu. Says the Heilige Mishnah, sponsored by Fishel, in honor of Yosef, in honor of the Mishnah, is in honor of the MDY the team. The MDY team. What? The entire MDY team. Including Nehemiah. I gave a whole drasha when Nehemiah wasn't there. Okay. Says the Mishnah. I forgot to tell you, I need the goat. Quick, but fast. The goat. With the red thing. Says the Mishnah. He tied the red string to the sar hamishtalech. To the one that gets thrown off the cliff, you tie a red string to it. And it faces shkoyach. And the sar hamishtalech faces here, right over here. You see, shiny color. it faces this way. He's facing out because if you recall, the Harabais, I can't point all the way low. The Harabais is down here. Harazaisim could see through this door. Where do they shech this goat? Or where do they shech? Where do they throw it? Where do they take it out? Through here. Forget what I just said. Harazaisim. They take it out through this front door. So he has to be facing this door. Okay. So here's the red string. Great. Now, hold on. We're going to be using it. Read this with me. How do you learn pshat? V'lanishchat, goat number 2. That's shechted, not the goat that we just discussed that gets thrown off the cliff. Keneged beis shchitase. So if you just read it simple, this one faces, his body physically faces the front door. The other one, l'chayra, maybe that's how you should read it. The other one should be facing where you shecht it. Or, there's another way to read it. You should put a red string on its neck where you shecht it. That's not so pashut in the wording. Because it says, where does he stand? There. And the other one, on his neck. On his neck. Now, he comes to the cow, shnia. What does shnia mean? Second one or second time? Second time. Very good. A bunch of Talmid Chachamim. He comes to his cow for the second time. Remember, he did this whole procedure before. He puts his 2 hands on top of the cow, and there shouldn't be a chatzitza, he said, and he says vidui. Ona Hashem. We had a whole sugya, they're supposed to say Ona Hashem. Those 2 words, Ona, you learn from, I'm not sure prepared. The Egel. And Hashem from Egla Rufa. Great. What's the difference between the first vidui and the second vidui? This vidui that we're talking about now, he's going to add the kohanim. Until then, it was about himself and his family. Ona Hashem, chotasi, ovisi, opashati. This is not so pashut, this girsa. That goes according to the end of the sugya that we have, but our mission doesn't say that. I think the Gair is differently. If you look at the Beis, by me it's not, I don't know why, but okay. Chatasi avisi pashati. Or pashati avisi chatasi, according to Rameir, you say, what? Correct. Avisi is right, 100%. Avisi is zadoin pashati is mered chatasi. Avisi pashati chatasi. Yes. Levarachani uvesi. Uvnei Aaron am g'dushecha. This is what he sticks in. Uvnei Aaron am g'dushecha. Ona Hashem. Tosis points out that it might be, and we say Ona Bashem. Remember on Yom Kippur we say Ona Bashem on the second one. Ona Bashem. Kaperno la'avoynois v'la'pshoim v'la'chatoim. Over here it's good. The avoynos come first. The pshoim v'la'chatoim. She'ovisi v'she'pashati v'shechatasi lefanecha ani uveisi. Me and my family. Uvnei Aaron am g'dushecha. He sticks in the kohanim. Kakos b'soris Moshe avdecha ki vayom hazeh yichaper aleichem l'tar eschem. Mikol chatoiseichem lefnei Hashem titaru ve'noidni machrov baruch shem k'vod machusei le'olam va'ed. We already had a sugi about it. Why zechat tzadik yivracha or havagad l'keinu, whatever. Baruch shem k'vod machusei le'olam va'ed. We already discussed this. Now it's easier. What does it mean that the one that's being shechted, he should stand? It should be opposite his shchita. What does it mean? Well, is it saying where he's positioned, his body's positioned, or do you put a string around the other one? Who ever heard of such a thing? Until tonight, most of you probably didn't know anything about a red string on the one that gets shechted. We know about a red, because we're familiar with this Masechta. Maybe a month ago we didn't know, but the idea of tying a string to the goat was the idea to the one that gets thrown off a cliff, not the other one that gets shechted. Toshma. So we learn new things every day. The Tani Rav Yosef. So you tie the string or whatever it is. In the pictures, it looks like a nice scarf, not this little flimsy string that I put on. I'm scared to drink this water. You think it has like lice in it? It does?
It's
It's not bad. The lights are good. You can't even see them so well, so you're not over. It's Bria, it's Beria. Okay, so we still don't have an answer. What is velenishchat keneged beis? You should put a string, or it doesn't say what. Velenishchat, you should be what? But over here it says so that the two goats shouldn't mix with each other. The many goats, it might get lost within other goats. We don't want that to happen. So Mela, all the Gemara is going to say, then it makes sense that we're tying strings here, and we're not talking about the goat should face a certain direction. Because if the goat is facing a certain direction, how's it going to help me that it's not going to get mixed up with other goats? That doesn't help. What helps is a string, like a suitcase. You tie something on a suitcase, you should recognize it. A direction of a suitcase doesn't help, right? If you're talking about tying, great. But if you're talking about the direction it should face towards where the shaychet is, okay, very good. He might not get mixed up with the other guy, because this guy has a string already on his head, so he's not going to get mixed up with goat number one, but he might get mixed up with all the other goats around. Okay, we're talking about tying the second goat around its neck. So that's it. Very interesting. We tie the goat, according to most, at least. There's a shita not like that, I think. Yeah, we're going to see the bio. All right, Yitzchak. Shtei l'shani shamati. Achas shel paro, v'achas shel sarah mishtaleach, achas tzricha shiur, v'achas eino tzricha shiur. Here. I don't know why I have. This is a string. How long does a string have to be? What's the size? So I heard that there's two things that need strings. You have the goat, and you also have the para aduma. Para aduma needs a red string. That's part of the process. You throw it into the fire. One of them needs a certain length, and one of them doesn't, and I don't know which one. I don't know. Let's figure it out. The you have to go like this. You take this string, and then you chop it in half. Okay? Then you take this, and you tie it on the goat, as so. Okay, great. And then you take this part, and you tie it on a stone. And as you throw, here, Hilla, put on your stone over there. On that cup. On top of the cup, even though you're drinking from it. Good. Now, when I throw this goat off the cliff, that cup over there, that string, is going to show me whether or not our Averis, our Mechuper, is going to turn into white. But it started out at a certain size, and I chopped it in half. So that tells me that I need a certain size. I don't know what, but enough to cut it in half. I need to make two parts out of it. So that makes sense that the goat string needs a size, and the only option now is that the paraduma doesn't need a size. Why would it need any size? I just take a little piece of string and throw it in and finished. Says the Gemara, you don't have to cut it in half by a paraduma. Look at this. Here's the puzzle. Let's see if I can read it. He takes. This is, you remember this? Schoenberg remembers this. This is Ezoiv. Hyssop. It's Erez. This is a cedar tree. Yeah? I just pulled it off a bush on the way here. It's not really cedar. I don't know what this is. And this guy. Take these three materials. And what does it say? This is part of the procedure. You're burning the para aduma. You take these three guys together. Where's the thing? The eitzeres. And you throw it into the fire. Great. So why do I need weight? weight because it says el toich sreifas apara. This can't disintegrate in midair. Look, this actually will disintegrate in midair. Before it reaches the flame, it will singe up and become nothing. Yeah, you have a big fire, it's consuming the animal. You go like this. What's a string? Nothing. It has to get to the bottom of the fire. El toich sreifas apara. That's what it says. El toich. So I need a thing of yarn, like a nice heavy amount, something that could get to the bottom. That's the Gemara's kasha. So Adarabba, this needs a shear. The paraduma needs a shear, not the other one. So the Gemara, no, okay, fine. It's machlekes tanoim. So you don't ask me kasha on that one man that says it has to be heavy. With the para, okay. With the para loy boy chaluka. Eisi abayo ketzu do oisa karcham b'shiyari lashain. Check this out. I have this, and I have this. Here, give me your red thing over there. It says, you take these three right over here, and you tie it up with another piece, l'chayra. It says, b'shiyari lashan. With the leftover, you take a comb, and you comb it out, and whatever's left over, so then you take it and you tie it. So how many pieces do I have? I have two pieces. One that I'm tying this up, and one that's in this combination, the three combo, is there, and then I need to tie it with something. So that's number two. So it says mefurish that I'm cutting it in half. You're telling me that the goat you're cutting in half, the parah you're also cutting in half. So it needs a shear. So Eime beznav loshen. Okay, it's not such a kasha. Look, it's over here, so you just go like this. The bottom of the string you use to wrap. It doesn't mean that you have to cut it in half. Says the Gemara, Omer Rav Chanan Omer Rav. Eitz erez ushnisrilas shikolaton shalheves ksheira. If it gets singed, like before you're able to put it in, the fire gets to it, it's kosher. Meisvei nishave veloshoin, it got singed. Maybe loshen achar mekadesh. It makes a difference. If the flame is a large flame and it caught onto the string and the string got singed, you're not yaitza. Why? Because the string never made it inside. It's 3 feet away. It's a massive bonfire, and when you went like this, it got consumed. It never went inside. But nichfefes, if the flame is very low, here's my para. Here, I'm grilling my para, and the flame is like this high, and it got singed over here. That's already l'taich. It's not up here. It's down here. Nichfefes. So it's okay. So the Gemara, Rav Oimer koivet tanoi. It's in fact the machlokes tanoim, and that will answer the question. The what? The sanya lo mekarchon kedei shiu kulam baguda achas. Here, Divrei Rebbe. According to Rebbe, why am I tying it? Not for weight, but to tie it, to get it tied together. Oh, so he holds it. It doesn't have to go into the bottom. Rebbe doesn't hold it has to get to the bottom, that it has to go to the bottom of the flame. All I need, according to Rebbe, is baguda achas. He holds that it needs to be heavy. So this idea of koived is a machlokes tanoim. I actually heard three strings. The goat that we push off the mountain, off the cliff. The mitzoira. And the paraduma. What's missing, Rabbi Isai? What string is missing from these three? We discussed today. Oh, the other sire. The other sire. Where's the other sires? The neck. How come it's not mentioned? Taisus asked the question. Okay. No. You cut the half is for the one that you throw off a cliff is half, not for the other one. Half for the stone, half for him. And that's the third one. Achas, listen to this. 3 different weights. Achas mishkal asar zuz. One is 10 zuz. V'achas mishkal shnei slaim. The other one is 8 zuz. V'achas mishkal shekel. The other one is 2 zuz. So you have 2, 8, and 10. I have no idea what's what. I'll explain it to you. Shalpara, Mishkal Asar is the heaviest one. Why? Because you need weight. You don't need to just divide it. You need to weigh down into the fire. Fishel Gross 8. Why? Because you got to cut it. I don't need anything. There's nothing, no cutting, no weight. Mishkal shekel, you need 2 zuz, and that's it. Have a wonderful evening. A good Voch. I'll see you all tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem.